on the water.
Back on the water. It's great to be back.
You know, this is going to be our best year yet for cruising.
The waters around Toronto are coming back to life. As spring conditions set in and pandemic restrictions continue to wane, ships both large and small are back, and with them an entire industry. As Jessica Pellerin of Ports Toronto explains, cruise ships are once again docking at our port, bringing continued relief to the city's battered tourism sector.
So they stay in hotels, they visit our attractions, restaurants, things like that.
Over the weekend, the Viking Octantis, a brand new ship operated by Viking Cruises, made its inaugural visit to the city.
It's an expedition vessel built specifically for expedition cruising here in the Great Lakes.
She adds the arrival of this ship to serve the Great Lakes market reflects a trend of sharply growing interest in Great Lakes cruising.
Even, before the pandemic, we were seeing an increase in cruises stopping here in the Port of Toronto and of course throughout the Great Lakes. We had our record back in 2019 of 36 ships. And this year, again, the first year that cruising is back, we're going to break that record. We're going to be welcoming 40 ships.
At the same time, the Great Lakes Cruise Association telling us the passengers aboard these ships are overwhelmingly from outside Canada, bringing in new dollars from all over the world.
Of course, there'll be many Americans visiting Canada, but also quite a number of French nationals, a lot of German nationals and German-speaking nationals from Austria, Germany, and Switzerland on the German ships. And then as we broaden the program out, we will have guests from Australia, Japan, and of course, a large component from the UK.
I heard some good news. Actually, Harbor Tours at York Street was telling me that they're noticing a lot more people asking questions are actually tourists this year. I don't think any of the businesses on the waterfront have had their best years in the last 2 summers. So there really is, and unfortunately, that is some of the hardest hit businesses we've seen during the pandemic have been those that are seasonal and reliant on just a few months of the year.
Meanwhile, on the waterfront, the water taxis have returned to service.
There's a few things we have to do to get ready for the season. Obviously, is to de-winterize all the boats, take all the shrink wraps off, make sure we give them all a good clean, make sure all the maintenance on the engines are done.
Alex Ferris, manager of Tiki Taxi, says while the company started to rebound last year, this year there are new challenges.
So with the inflation and the price of gas and all that, living wages down in Toronto.
For the first time since 2008, the company must raise its price from $10 to $12 to offset the new costs and offer their employees a raise. But he says they're still optimistic about the season, even building 4 new boats to offer a new tour option to tourists.
I think tourists are going to be a lot more present in Toronto. That's something we haven't had much of in the last 2 years. So for us, any traffic, any tourist is always great. So yeah, of course, those big cruise ships coming around, they bring hundreds, thousands of people to the city. So I do believe there is some sort of ecosystem involved. But yeah, everyone plays a small role to try and make the waterfront the place it is.
For City News, I'm David Zura.